Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 2nd January 2024. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Hardan, 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 Hari Bol, TRSV, Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been trying to discuss and analyze about the topics that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous videos. This particular video is no exception to the rule of such analysis by us in every one of our videos. It is only an extension of what we have all been doing in my past videos. Please subscribe to this video and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of my past, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. You may appreciate that for the past few videos we have been trying to delve deep into the functioning of a very important term or instrument in the psyche and life of every human living entity, whether male or female, in a particular lifetime in this material world. This particular term is known as mind. We have been trying to analyze this particular mind to find out how or why it works in the case of any human living entity, whether male or female, in a particular direction. This will give us a fairly good idea of the reason of coloring of this society by the presence of multifarious living entities at any given lifetime in the material world. Before going into it further, I'd like to discuss one particular case history while you listen to it and connect it with this term called mind to find out how the mind of various living entities who are part and parcel of this living this case history behaves in a particular way. There are several very important characters in this who will give us an idea of how some living entities belong to the 20% category of living entities in a society which gravitates towards and gets attracted to and begins worshipping the dark negative forces of this material world. Let us begin this case history keeping in the back of our mind this particular term called mind. Here, every human living entity belonging to this case history has an individual mind. Now we will see how his or her individual mind works. Let us begin. There was one gentleman with the surname of Kaskar who belonged to the Ratnagiri district of the state of Maharashtra in India. This person came to Bombay from his village in Ratnagiri to eke out an, a decent living in this fast thriving commercial metropolis. This particular gentleman called Kaskar belonged to the 75% category of living entities of the society. Hence, he did not have any other purpose in mind except to eke out a living for himself and his family. This man came and settled down in a place which had a majority of population from his own community. This place was known as the Dongri Pakmodia Street Crawford Market area, where Muslims of his own community, along with him, settled down and began eking out a living. This gentleman soon started his own career as a barber and he opened his own hair cutting salon. This man soon got married and raised a family. Among his offspring was one gentleman called Ibrahim. This man's complete name was Ibrahim Kaskar. This guy, though he also belonged to the 75% category, he knowingly or unknowingly, inadvertently or advertently, deliberately or otherwise, as a design or as a default, got slowly attracted to the dark negative forces of this material world. If he had not been so attracted to these forces, he could also have remained in the 75% category along with his own father, and he could have eked out a decent living as a barber and the owner of the same haircutting salon that his own father had started long ago. However, because of this Ibrahim Kafka's cerebral inclination, he who had become a fairly good student got qualified to become a police constable in the Nagpada area of the same city. This was a very destiny inclined move in the sense that during the time when this Ibrahim Kaskar was so appointed as a constable in the Nagpada police station, Bombay, which was already a commercial township or a metropolis, was fast developing commercially, as a result of which it began boasting of a very thriving underworld. Underworld completely worships the dark negative forces. Because this man became a constable in the police station, whether he wanted or not, whether he liked it or not, this man's life got entwined with the underworld and its own characters. Three of the major categories of characters of the dark negative forces were known as Karim Lala, who ran his own gambling den and country liquor wine shop; Hazi Mastan, who was a smuggler of gold and electronic items from Middle East to India; and Don Vardharaja Madadiyar was running his own kangaroo court and who was handling a couple of criminal gangs and running his own wine business. Varadarajan Mudaliyar was not directly connected with Ibrahim Kaskar. Karim Lala was too big to be entangled with with Ibrahim Kaskar. However, the smuggler Haji Mastan got advertently or inadvertently connected directly to Ibrahim Kaskar. This Ibrahim Kaskar eventually got married and he brought forth around 11 to 12 offsprings. Of these, the first two were named as Sabir Ibrahim Kaskar and Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar. Due to his small pay, financial constraints, and the atmosphere in that area, his sons, especially the first two, could not get good education. As a result of which, these two boys inadvertently gravitated towards the underworld and thus to the negative forces thriving in that area. This shows how, when some force takes over the mind, psyche, intelligence, cerebral faculties, and a mode of life of a particular person, it shapes his or her destiny and karma accordingly. Of the two, Sabir and Daud, the elder boy Sabir was quite gutsy, courageous, and had a wrong negative type of bravery that made him a local brawler and a goon. The younger Daud joined his elder brother just because the elder brother was being respected for his brawn in that local area. However, unlike Sabir, Dawood, though he could not complete his schooling, had a lot of native intelligence and a street smartness that made him a commercially inclined person right from his teen age. Unlike Sabir, who was happy working as a goon, a dada, and a don type of person, Dawood was very business minded, ambitious, and almost a megalomaniac. Dawood had high dreams of making it big in the commercial capital of Mumbai, which was then called Bombay, so that he could help bring up his large family and make everyone affluent. Anyway, because of these inclinations from the two brothers, they soon got in touch with like minded youth who had also gravitated towards the dark negative forces and the underworld of Bombay. Soon, because of Sabir's short temper and brawling nature, the two got into incessant fights, skirmishes, and brawls with other gangs of that area. Among those gangs were initially one particular gang which became first friendly, then indifferent, and later on inimical to the Sabir Dawood duo. This gang was known as the Pathan gang. Karim Lala was a Pathan, and Pathan is a Muslim community that does not belong to India but which has migrated from a country called Afghanistan which is adjacent to India. It is said that during the Mahabharata period, this particular Afghanistan was a part and parcel of the large Indian Empire. Anyway, at present it was a separate country. Pathans are known for their bravery, violence, friendship, and vindictiveness. They are a very violent and deadly community, whereas Daud and Sabir belonged to the local Muslim gangs of Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, Mumbai. Soon there began a sort of animosity between the two groups. The Pathans were very powerful, hence, being very audacious and brave, they had the kind of chip on the shoulder that goes with such raw power and criminal influence from a don called Karim Lala. The major players of this Pathan gang were known as Samad Khan, who was a nephew of Karim Lala, and two other Pathan boys called Nawab Zada Jangres Khan and Amir Zada Alamzeb Pathan, besides other guys who were part and parcel of this Pathan gang. At the time when these skirmishes between the two began, the Pathan gang was extraordinarily wealthy, resourceful, and influential in the underworld of Bombay at that time. No one, let alone the Dawood Sabir duo, could ever imagine that they will win over these Pathans in a gang war. In fact, there had been occasions when Karim Lala and the Pathan gang came at their wish or their will and pressure and attacked this Sabir Dawood gang and always went away victorious. This angered Sabir and frustrated Daud. At that time, their father Ibrahim Kaskar contacted the other smuggling don called Haji Mastan. Haji Mastan was also a local Muslim who hailed from the state of Tamil Nadu in India. Haji Mastan was close to Karim Lala and he was also close to Ibrahim Kaskar, the police constable. At the behest of Ibrahim Kaskar, Haji Mastan decided to intervene and to settle the matter between the Pathan gangs and the local Dawood Sabir gang. He arranged for a meeting between Karim Lala and his boys and Daud and Sabir on the other hand. They had a very uneasy peace settlement between the two gangs. as a gesture of extending the olive branch. The Daud Sabir gang invited these Pathan boys to the marriage of Sabir, which was going to take place in a few days. There is a photograph where the three Pathan bishops of that gang plus Dawood are photographed standing side by side in a particular wedding reception. However, everyone knew about the Pathans. Pathans are vindictive by nature. They never forget any insult or enmity. Though Daud and Sabir extended their olive branch to the Pathans remembered their old growth against each other and decided to wreak vengeance from Sabir and Daud. Further, they were too superiority complex ridden to feel or accept that these inferior local Muslims from Bombay could come to their level or to become at par with them in the underworld. Anyway, a few years or months later, the same Pathan gang cornered Sabir and his girlfriend at a petrol pump one night in Bombay and gunned down Sabir. Dawood was left high and dry. In fact, on that day, the same Pathan gang wanted to shoot down Daud himself, but thanks to the presence of mind of another Pathan gangster called Khalid Pehelwan, who interestingly was with Daud and Sabir. These Pathan gangs could not shoot down Daud in that skirmish because the gates were soon closed by Khalid. Before concluding further, before continuing further, I would like to take a detour in this matter. As I have mentioned in my previous videos, there are broadly three categories of human living entities, both male and female. The first one is the 75% mundane category of vegetating living entities who live happily in this world, trying to enjoy this material world and its offerings and eke out a common living. The second category of 20% is that of those human living entities who worship the dark negative forces which have been in existence in this material world for times immemorial. The Pathan gang, Dawood, Sabir, Karim Lala, Haji Mastan, Warda Bhai, and Ibrahim Kaskar worshipped these dark forces and negative forces, and how we will know in my continuation of this story in my next video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter in this video. Please give me your views, opinions, ideas, and thoughts so that I may blend everything together for the sake of the society of our own country and the international world. It will be beneficial to all those who want to understand how the mind of a human a living entity works. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.